In the know.
Good evening, everyone.
In the know.
Tony Reeves, fire. Following the news in any way, shape, or form. No shortage of things to talk about. What does it mean? What will it bring? This is a reality we simply have to accept. Tony Reeves, fire. Tony Reeves, let's go ahead.
Okay, let's talk about why workers' compensation doesn't always help your Social Security case. All right, let's talk about this for a second. So, you've had an injury at the job. You're filing a workers' comp claim. It's becoming apparent to you that as a result of their inability to accommodate your limitations, that maybe you should apply for disability. So you go ahead and apply. You're thinking all of the stuff that you get from workers' comp should automatically help you with your Social Security case. Let's talk about that for a second. First, I'm going to read something to you. Workers' compensation is a compensation program to provide workers who are injured at work wage replacement, medical treatment, and other benefits. One of the things that I tell people when they are getting workers' comp is that ultimately at the end of the day, you're being compensated as a result of being injured on the job. You're getting monetary benefits, you're getting medical treatment, and so forth like that. And in most instances, they're trying to make a determination of whether or not they can reintegrate you back into the workforce and so forth like that. There are some good benefits with going through workers' comp, but there's also some downfalls as well. So the first half of the show, we're going to talk about some of the benefits. First of all, they'll do assessments, or what we call, making a determination of whether you're reaching maximum medical improvement. These assessments can be very, very helpful to you because someone is trying to ascertain what your limitations are in order for them to determine if there's jobs available in the workplace to accommodate you. Second of all, every state is a little different, but there are some states you can have the ability to go before an independent medical examiner, somebody who is a third-party medical provider who is evaluating all of your medical evidence and providing an independent medical examination relating to your condition. So that's always helpful because usually these IMEs are fairly comprehensive. Money. So in most instances, you may be getting some type of bi-weekly payment, which definitely, if you're not working, that definitely helps out a lot. Also medical treatment. Even though most people kind of grumble because they're like, well, I'm going to the doctors that are being provided by the employer. Well, that's great because if you don't have anybody, guess what? At least you've got somebody who's treating you for your condition. Those are the positives that relate to workers' comp. When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the negatives that you need to be aware of.
Under the Social Security regulations, representatives are permitted to practice before the administrative agency anywhere in the country, which means that when you're looking for a representative, you can find someone who doesn't necessarily have to be in your state if you're just going before the administrative agency. So it's possible to have an attorney or representative who's from Utah, even though you may be in Georgia. And our office is actually no different. So if you're wondering which states we cover, check this out. Now, the tricky part is once you have to sue the Social Security Administration. Under that situation, you want to have an attorney that's representing you in your jurisdiction. So if you have a representative who's in another state and you've gone all the way to the appeals council and you've been denied and you want to sue the Social Security Administration, make sure you ask that representative whether or not they can sue someone in that particular state.
Okay. Today we're talking about workers' compensation. We started off by having a discussion about the upsides and benefits of workers' comp. Here are some of the downsides you need to be aware of. First of all, when you go through those medical assessments or those independent medical examinations, a lot of times they're trying to determine what limitations that you have. Sometimes those limitations can reveal what you can do in terms of other work. Remember, with Social Security, not being able to do your past work is only one aspect of the 5-step process. The biggest step, which is the last one, typically is, can you do anything else? If they believe that you have a severe medical impairment, it's kept you out of work for 12 months or more, it doesn't meet any of the specific listed medical conditions under Social Security, but it does limit you from doing anything you used to do based on the limitations that are established. If those limitations that are established in workers' comp allows for them to make a determination for Social Security to determine that you can do anything else, it may actually hurt you in that particular instance. Also, every state handles workers' compensation differently, meaning some states may have they may give you a judgment or determination with regards to being permanently disabled. Some of them have a difference in terms of the mechanisms of pay. Every state is different. And I've mentioned this before about other agencies like the VA and so forth. Just because you get a determination from, let's say the state that you're from makes a determination that you're completely disabled based on your limitations and the injuries you occurred in your job. That determination does not mean you can go, apply to people and head to Social Security and say, I got a slam dunk. Remember, they're looking at different criteria than what Social Security is. Does Social Security have to take into consideration? Absolutely. But they don't necessarily have to follow it. So keep that in mind. Here's the biggest thing that people run across. And I always say this is one of the toughest pitfalls with workers' comp. If by some chance you settled the case, and that case is basically a monetary settlement, meaning all medical treatment ceases, okay? And you just got a lump sum, and that money is what you need to use to pay for your medical treatment, everything like that. Guess what? Then treatment stops. If you're still in the middle of the Social Security disability process, I can't tell you how much of a nightmare that can be when you find yourself stuck in a situation where you were getting regular treatment from the workers' comp, you're in the middle of the Social Security process, and then boom, you settle the case, and then from that point forward, you're on your own trying to find treatment. It may look like, if you look at your file, it's like a drop-off. You were getting great treatment while you were going through workers' comp, and then boom, it's over. So keep that in the back of your mind, so that when you find this drop-off, that means you need to be very smart about what you need to do with that money in terms of paying for future treatment and starting and getting additional insurance or additional treatment from other sources, because you will no longer have access to the workers' comp resources. And like I said, this comes up a lot of times when I'm dealing with someone who has filed an application right around the time that workers' comp starts. The workers' comp is settled, and they still got a long way to go with Social Security. And you look at their file, and it's like for 6 months to 8 months, it was great treatment, and then all of a sudden, nothing. So keep that in the back of your mind. Workers' comp can be helpful, but there are things you need to be aware in terms of pitfalls so that you can understand that some of the things that happen in workers' comp may impact your Social Security case.
I want to thank all of you for engaging in the videos. Make sure you take the opportunity to send me any comments or send me any particular questions that you want me to have addressed here. As you know, this show is for you, and so the only way I can make sure that I can provide you some good information is if you provide me some good questions. Keep them coming, and right here on Q&A, Social Security Disability Today.